Yo, it's your boy Brandon.
It's your boy Brad.
Welcome to the School Days Podcast. As usual, follow us on our social media platforms. And Instagram is School Days Podcast, and Twitter is the School Days.
Yes.
Brad, we have a very special guest.
Hello.
Leaf.
Hi.
Leaf. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing amazing. How you feeling, Brandon?
I'm good. I'm great.
You doing good?
Great. Yeah, we're just having a conversation off the mic about signs and, spiritual.
Why you putting me out? Why you putting me out?
No, I want to talk about it a little bit. So, how does that, factor into your career? With,
My career?
Astrology and signs and...
Well, you got to know what you vibe with. You got to know when you walk into the room if you're going to vibe with somebody or not. If you're going to have beef with them or not. No, let me stop.
And you know that straight from the signs? Like, if you meet Brandon or something, he's signs that you don't fuck with. Yeah. You're just going to not fuck with him from the start?
They say science isn't always accurate. So I would never judge anybody off rip based on their sign. But I would take into account what their sign is and then go from there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Suss the vibes. See what's really going on.
We gave you our signs. You fuck with us?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
We're compatible.
Okay. So
we're all compatible.
It's going to be a great interview.
Yeah, definitely. Y'all the life of the party.
Word.
Air signs in this bitch.
That's true. All right. I want to take it back to the beginning of, your story and your ascension.
Yeah.
You went to LaGuarding High School of Music and Arts.
Yes, I did.
What was your experience like there, and what did you study, and what did you aspire to be?
So in LaGuardia, I was not a very good kid. I was arrested from the school when I was 16, walked out in handcuffs for graffiti, which is an art school, so it makes no sense.
Expression?
Yeah.
Makes no sense that I was arrested, LaGuardia. Anyways, yeah, they didn't like me. They told me I wasn't going to be shit, so I'm here now.
What do you...
Teachers always say that. Like,
they always say that. Teachers always say nobody's gonna be shit. Like, why are we in school then? Like, let me just be a drug dealer.
To the biggest stars. Like,
I was thinking about that today. Like, my guidance counselor from high school was like, I shouldn't apply to colleges and just focus on.
Talking about that, all my teachers, none of them wrote me a recommendation letter, so I didn't go to college.
Oh, man.
So, but I mean, I didn't care. I wasn't trying to go to college anyways because I already had been doing music. I had already been modeling. I already had, I was making bread before I even left high school.
Okay.
But it's just like, y'all really was supposed to support kids. I think that there's a lot of stuff that's really wrong with the education system. And I think especially art education needs to be more of a priority in schools because as mixed race, Black people, art is part of our lineage. It's in our blood. And I think it's something that every kid should be able to study in school. And there should be better art teachers so that kids can really have a creative outlet for just all of their emotions. Whether you're an athlete or whether you're a science nerd, art is it's really important for the development of children's brains to do art. And I think that art needs to be a much bigger focus in school.
I'm not sure.
Not to get too serious. Sorry.
I'm not sure how the curriculum works there, but what was like your major? What was your focus? I know you do a few things.
I was a vocal major, so I sang opera for 4 years. I know it sounds crazy. I sang opera for 4 years straight. And I was very good at opera. That's why my teachers hated me because they thought I should have been an opera singer, but I decided to come in with piercings and dyed hair every single day, and they were just like, "How are you going to be an opera singer if your hair is purple and you have like 5 nose piercings?" And I was like, who's being an opera singer? I'm sorry, but like I'm out here trying to rap. I'm trying to do other things, and they just didn't want me to do that. They wanted me to follow the curriculum, which is what most schools want.
I know a lot of stars went to that school.
Yeah,
like,
Nicki Minaj went to that
Al
school.
Pacino.
You know what they told me about Nicki too? They told me she was a bad student too. So I was like, why am I going to be a good student?
Yeah, gave you a little bit of hope.
I was like, if Nicki was a bad student and she's doing great.
Yeah, let me follow those footsteps.
Yeah.
Were there any notable names in your class?
Yeah, I went to school with Timothy Chalamet. He's a really big performer right now. Also, this kid named Ansel, he's also an actor. They're both actors. There's a lot of kids from my school right now who are doing really amazing in their career. Shout out to them. Shout out to the class of 2013, I think. I barely made graduation, so...
So you came back after arrest? You finished
Oh yeah, I mean, it was so petty. It was so petty. Like, honestly, they only arrested me, to be honest, to make an example out of me. And I'm not going to say it was racist, but
it was racist.
Yeah. Let's just put that on the books, you know, like, because they wasn't arresting no white girls for graffiti, and every bitch was doing it. So that's all I'm saying.
Like, were you doing graffiti in the school?
I wrote on a bathroom wall. Guys, I wrote on a bathroom wall. It was really ridiculous. I mean, thank God I got arrested for that and not doing graffiti in the streets of New York, because that would have been a bigger drama. And I was doing like real crazy graffiti. I was like graffitiing with acid markers, like scaling buildings. Like, I was really into graffiti when I was younger, but they just arrested me because I had an illegal graffiti instrument in school, which was a crink marker, which every person in New York, if you grew up in New York, you know what a crink marker is. And that is really not that illegal. It's not like I came to school with like a box cutter and was trying to slice bitches. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they stretched that shit. Like, you know, like.
So how'd you go into the path of modeling if you were like so focused with music?
It's funny because before we came in here, we were just having that conversation. I never expected to be a model. I was doing streetwear photography in Soho. I was just hanging out in the streets of Soho, and this was like when Soho was hot, like, you know, like it was like that era, that Soho era. Everybody was in Soho, and I just used to dress fly. I used to wear Margielas. I used to like come out in the flyest outfits, and people would just ask to take photos of me. And then people started noticing me, following me on Instagram, and looking at me, I guess, as like a young style icon. And that's when people started to reach out to me, and I started modeling for Calvin Klein, Forever 21, Aeropostale, national campaigns. It really just grew organically. And honestly, I don't know how to tell anybody how to be a model, because I'm not the typical model. I'm 5'7", I'm not very tall, and my waist is not 23 inches. I'm an average sized girl, and I don't know, it just happened organically for me, so I'm blessed, you know?
Do you find any challenges in being not the typical model?
Before, like, I would say maybe 5 years ago, I would say yes to that. But now, modeling has become so inclusive, and it's really changed, like, drastically. And I'm so happy for the way that fashion has progressed, and the way that modeling has progressed for women and all people of all ethnicities, all genders, you know, whatever sexuality you are, you can model. And I want everyone to know that modeling is an opportunity, and it's out there for you. And I can't tell you how to get started, because I didn't get started the regular way, but I know that it's there, and that if you really want that you can pursue it, and it's there for you, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, you talk about modeling, and we had this conversation a few times.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it? Like, a lot of people are forcing so much inclusivity in modeling. Like, everybody feels like they need to be represented, and they deserve to be a model.
They do deserve to be a model.
So you feel like every woman...
I believe that every single person that feels they deserve something deserves that shit. And they should get it. If you feel like you deserve it, go out there and get it for yourself. Like, can't nobody tell you. You are a human being, and humans are infinite. And if you feel like you deserve some shit, go and make that shit possible. Because then other people are going to look up to you when they're young, and they're going to know that anything is possible. So inclusivity, I'm for it. Anything, I'm for it. If people want to do it, I'm for it. Because I think that it's important for the evolution of man, you know? I think it's important.
That's dope. I want to get into the music aspects of things. So you're from Brooklyn.
And the Lower East Side.
Okay.
Don't hate.
Yes, I got you. So what are your thoughts on like the emerging, music scene in Brooklyn with, the Smooth L's, the Favios, the Pop Smokes?
I fuck with it. I'm so hyped. We need that energy back. You know what I mean? We always need that energy in Brooklyn. I feel like if New York is on the map, I'm always going to support it. I'm fucking with the whole vibes.
You ready to join that wave?
Yeah, definitely. I'm my own wave, but I'm ready to join the wave of New York artists coming out right now, definitely.
We were talking about New York artists, Brooklyn artists, specifically, and how they usually like stay in trouble. Like the Pop Smokes, the 6ix9ine.
Stay in trouble. You know what I mean? I think it's kind of hard to stay out of trouble in New York. You know, it's kind of crazy out here. The way shit is right now. All the gentrification, they don't want us anywhere, but they still want us here. You know what I mean? It's like, what's that about?
You still live in Brooklyn?
I don't live in Brooklyn. I live in the Lower East Side.
Okay.
But I was raised in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Yeah.
But with some of these artists, do you feel like once they start growing and start, getting more attention, they become a target from like...
I think that they're a target just being born Black in America. Mm-hmm. I think being born anything in America that's not white, you're a target. Mm-hmm. And I think that we have a responsibility to create something to show kids who are of mixed ethnicity and of Black ethnicity and of Hispanic ethnicity that there are better ways to live your life than the fuck shit that they do. But I also feel like the circumstances that you come from gives you certain options. So I think that like this conversation is just a very long rabbit hole that I don't know if it's like, it's a very deep rabbit hole. I don't blame anybody for anything they do because they're them and I don't walk in their shoes.
Yeah. I mean, let's stay on that subject because you mentioned, a mixed race struggle, and you're talking about a struggle that people of color face.
Definitely.
So what have you faced, in your life?
I faced a lot of shit. Racism? Are you talking about?
Yeah,
I told you about racism.
You started with school, but I mean, I want to talk about more like the mixed race struggle too, because that's not something we hear
the mixed race struggle is definitely a thing, but I don't think that I don't think any struggle like champs any struggle. You know what I mean? I don't think any struggle is more difficult than any other struggle. I think that like me as a mixed race girl, if I say that it's difficult for me to be mixed, then it's kind of taking the light away from the fact that it's hard to be a dark skinned girl. It's hard to be a light skinned girl. It's hard to be any type of, it's hard to be any type of race in America, especially if you are first or second generation, or if you're building a legacy for yourself that hasn't already been painted for you. I think that everybody is just trying to paint their story, and there's so many people who have way worse struggle than me right now. Like, if we're going to talk about the fucked up shit, like, let's talk about the border. Let's talk about things that are really going on right now, like all the shootings that are going on, like all the shit that's really going on. And there's so much shit to talk about. I think the mixed race struggle is really not even on that list.
Light on that.
You know what I mean? Like, like I'm not even going to get into that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was reading up on you and stuff, and then you're a big advocate on like feminism.
Definitely.
And stuff. Can you elaborate more on that?
Bitches running shit 2020.
That's really what it's looking like, man. It started last summer actually, but what do you mean by that? I don't want to say.
What else is there to say? Like, bitches is running shit. We get in our bag. It's well deserved. Like, just step aside.
So who the artists, you're seeing right now?
All female artists. If you want that bag, go and grab it, Mom. Go get that bag.
Who are the artists you listening to right now?
I fuck with all of them. I fuck with Megan. I fuck with Sweetie. I fuck with from R&B to hip hop. Every single girl who's out here doing some shit right now, I am proud of you. And you are making it like... I've always been saying this in all my interviews. I want to bring back the 90s when like the 90s and early 2000s when bitches was like fucking with each other. Like I want to do a like what's that shit? Ladies night. Like ladies night, or what's that shit with Eve? Oh no, is it Eve and Little Kim? Or was even that one? Eve, Little Kim, Christina Aguilera, Maya. Yeah, that shit. I want that shit back. Like those vibes. Like let's bring those vibes back where it's like unity. And that's why I fuck with Megan so heavy, because like she's all about that unity shit, and I fuck with that, and I fuck with her because she just has such a strong brand, and like everything she talks about is just so dope, and I really fuck with that. Yeah,
she has that energy of
definitely
trying to bring people
together, and none of that catty shit. Like we don't need that. Good energy, good vibes. Like you know.
Are you doing anything right now to work towards that goal?
Of good energy and good vibes?
Of just bringing women together.
Definitely, all the time. I started a brand called MBM a while ago, which is Money Before Men, or Magnipitch Movement. Girls who magnetize what they want into their life. You mad, but there's always money over bitches, all that shit. So we get to have our little, you know what I mean? Like we have our terms for it too.
Yeah, I feel you, but it still hurts a little bit.
Y'all sensitive. Y'all be acting like so hard.
I said I wasn't.
Y'all be acting so hard until it's about you. So anyways, but yeah, female empowerment and bringing women together and supporting women, supporting female brands and supporting women in music and supporting all those things has always been my number one agenda, and it'll never change,
Yeah. I want to take a step back. You kind of mentioned your inspiration of the 90s.
Yes.
Like, I guess besides the female unity, what else, like, are you drawing from the 90s that you're putting into your art now?
I think I was born in 95, so 90s will always be a part of me, even though technically I'm a 2000s baby because I didn't grow up in the 90s. I heard it before. But the 90s,
95, so we good.
Yeah, like, so 90s is always like, I don't know, it's just a nostalgic thing for me, and it's something that I'm always going to take from and try to bring back, because I think that was just such a good time for music, especially hip hop. And as I was saying before, like, the people who really created hip hop and who brought all those things forward for us, I feel like it's our opportunity and our responsibility to pay homage to those people and really do the right things in music and like bring that pureness back that the 90s really had, you know?
Yeah.
Especially like Tupac, like, let's talk about uplifting women, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's talk about good shit, you know? But I'm not a guy, so I can't do that, but hopefully a guy will bring that to the table.
Yeah. So I was listening to some of your music. I was listening to Somebody.
Yes.
I really like that track.
Yeah, I made that song for Mental Health Month. And it was a song that was really close to my heart. I don't talk about this often, but a very close friend of mine actually committed suicide when I was 12 years old. Wow. And I've had a lot of friends commit suicide throughout my life. So suicide, mental health has always been a big thing for me. And having that message, I think in Black communities, we don't talk about mental health enough. And I think it's something that, especially in the past couple of years, have been brought more to our attention. And I think it's something I wanted to shine a light on, you know, in that moment, to just talk about, like, if you need somebody, reach out, you know? I did it in my perspective, because I didn't want people to feel targeted. I didn't want it to be like me talking to somebody. I wanted to talk about it from my experience so that people could relate to it, rather than preaching to people, because I'm not here to preach. I'm here to share the experience with you and let you know you're not alone, and there's always somebody in your life you can reach out to.
What do you do? What are you doing specifically to work on your mental health?
I work on my mental health every single day. I meditate. I really take time. Self-care is like a big thing for me. I think girls love self-care, but I think that self-care is sometimes overlooked as like a trendy thing, but it's really necessary. Every single day you should take some time out for yourself, really get in touch with yourself, and either journal or read a book or take a hot bath or put on a face mask or whatever you need to do. Call your girlfriend up and just vent to her, or your guy friends, vent to them. I think guys vent a lot more sometimes than girls do, and they don't even realize it because they're always talking to their boys about shit. Or some guys, I don't know. I'm not a guy. I can't speak from the male experience, but from what I see. Whereas girls, we keep a lot of emotions in because we don't want our friends to judge us, or we don't want to talk about a situation because they might blow it out of proportion. But I think it's good to talk through things with people and to always reach out when you're in a place where you feel vulnerable or you feel like people may not understand you. And I think that as a generation, we need to start doing that more for other people because of the social media age. I feel like it's very easy to close yourself in and be like, oh, well, I'm just going to stay inside and stay on my phone all day and not communicate with any people. Like, that's unhealthy. And we need to start communicating with more people and going out and having more social interactions without judgment. Because that's really the problem. If you eliminate the judgment, there's no feelings of fear. And I think a lot of people are afraid to go outside and meet new people because they're afraid that they'll be judged. This is a no judgment zone. Like, if you come to me, it's a no judgment zone.
You brought up social media.
Yeah.
And, I saw you have a big following. Does any of that come with, like, I'm sure that attracts some negativity too, with so many eyes on you. So what do you what are some things you deal with, and how do you get past that?
I think that sometimes you just have to realize that if somebody's hitting you up with some negative shit, it's because they're thinking negative about themselves. And you have to take that with a grain of salt and just keep it pushing. And if you love yourself and you believe in yourself, like, you're always going to have haters. And sometimes, like, I had to realize that hate isn't always a bad thing. At least they're noticing me, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you hating me so much that you had to comment on my page. To me, that's just another form of love, like, it's different, but I'll take it.
I want to get back to the music. I've also been listening to some of your songs, like Nada with Lil Yachty. And what's the other single you have? Lied to Me?
Yeah, Fuck With Me. Yeah, Lied to Me.
Okay.
Yeah.
How would you describe your sound?
And I don't know.
Or not like your style, or like, do you categorize it in any way? Or
you describe it. Describe it in 3 words, both of you.
It's like
I feel like it's soothing.
I don't know if it take bubble baths, but it feels like a bubble bath.
Yeah,
I like that. Come on, like, you take some bubble baths.
I was by myself listening to it here. Somebody walked in. I look back and they just look at me like, "Yo, you good?" Like, the lights are low and everything. I was just vibing. So
I'm like, I like to be low key. So like, I feel like my songs, like even my turned up songs, they're like low key vibes. Like, I don't smoke weed anymore, but when I did, I'd always go into the club, find my corner, smoke my blunt, chill with my girlfriends, dance in my corner. Like, I'm not really the type of bitch that, like, you know, I don't do too much. I like to keep to myself. I like to, you know, I like to have a good time, and I like to be in a good environment. Like, I don't really need to do too much to enjoy myself. So I feel like my music is kind of like that. It's like, enjoy yourself. You know what I mean? And you don't have to always be around a million people to enjoy yourself. Like, sometimes it's rowdy. Some of the music I'm putting out more recently is going to be a little bit more rowdy. But yeah, I guess it's that type of vibe, like enjoying yourself, being in your bag, that bad bitch shit, you know?
Yeah.
I love how you use the word bitch so like endearing.
I love that word. It's such a good word.
I'm over here scared to use it. What's gonna happen?
If you use it in a positive way, it's not bad, you know?
Okay. So, what do you have next in terms of music or modeling? Like, what kind of projects are you working on at the moment?
So, modeling Fashion Week is coming up soon, so I'm about to be out doing a bunch of shit.
How is that? How's Fashion Week? I feel like it's Fashion Week.
I love it. It's exhausting.
It's exhausting? What's exhausting about it?
I mean, it's like I have to go to 3 fashion shows in one day, like 3 different outfit changes. Like, then I got to go to a party that night. Then I wake up the next day at like, I don't know, 12, and then there's a fashion show at 1. So it's like it's an exhausting time, but it's fun and it's amazing, and like you get to meet like some of the top designers and like top models, and you're all just like, it's really a nice environment because everybody's in their own space. They don't feel like everybody who's supposed to be in the room is in the room. So it's like a comfortable feeling. Nobody feels like, oh, I don't know if I could be myself right now, you know? It's really, I like Fashion Week. I think it's a lot of fun. But music, I'm about to put out music next month. I'm about to drop a whole EP with like 8 tracks, like sometime before the summer. So I'm excited about all that.
All right.
I sent you guys 2 songs. So
Gotcha. No, we'll definitely check that out.
Yeah.
Going back to like the Fashion Week and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you only attend the NY Fashion Week or?
I've attended Paris Fashion Week. I've never attended Milan. And then where's the other one? I've attended London, Paris, and New York. Okay. This year, I'm just going to do New York for this Fashion Week in February, but September, I'm most likely going to be in Milan, Paris, and London. Okay. Yeah.
With that, like, do you ever feel any like toxicity within the, among your peers of, models or anything, any judgment or, any?
I guess because I don't consider myself really a model. I don't really ever feel that,
So you're just chilling.
Like, I don't see myself as a model, and I don't think anybody sees me as a model. I think all of the models see me as a musician because none of them do music. Okay. So it's a lot less of a toxic space for me. But I definitely know, because I have a lot of friends who are models, and they tell me about all the toxic shit that goes down. And I'm just like,
what?
I'm not part of that. Story. Just like bitches being like catty and like saying side shit, like, oh, you're not my friend because you didn't take me to this place, and like just weird shit like that. Like, it's like, bruh, like, I got here myself. Why would you expect me to, just because you're my friend, I have to take you everywhere now? Just because like I don't know. I think that people get jealous of people, and then they lose clarity of themselves sometimes. Because if you value yourself, you know that you can make it to wherever you need to make it to. Yeah. And if you have gratitude, then you're never really stressed about what anybody else has in their pocket. Yeah. And I think that once you start having that type of gratitude in your life, and you start like thanking God every single day, like a lot of those emotions go away. So I just pray for everybody. To get that clarity.
We were even having that conversation last week about how women in their friendships with other women are like so fickle. Like,
it depends on what type of girls you get down with. You know what I mean? Like, all my friends are solid. You know, I hang around solid girls. Like, all my friends, like, a lot of my, like, I have at least 5 girlfriends that I've known since I was 11 years old that hold it down for me. I have girls that I've known since I was like born, basically. Like, you know, so I think it just depends on the type of girls you attract in your life and the type of energy you allow to be around you. Like, I don't allow cattiness around me. I don't. If a girl says to me like, "Oh, that girl wore a weird dress," I'd be like, "Why are you judging her?" Yeah. And then the conversation ends.
Yeah, that was dope.
But it's when you feed into that girls feel like they can be like that around you, and then it turns into some other shit, you know? But once you cut that shit off immediately, girls act cool. And I think that you just have to cut it off immediately so that it doesn't linger on, you know?
All right. So let's get back to the upcoming EP. Yeah. The name, what did you say the name was?
It's called Fashion Bitch.
Fashion Bitch, okay. What did you know, what's the inspiration for that?
I'm a fashion bitch.
That's it.
It's about me. Yeah, I'm a fashion bitch, and I just want people to really know who I am. And I wanted to give people a project that kind of like gave them a taste of who I am and like kind of put it right in their face, you know? So it's not really too many questions could be asked. Like,
so you're combining, you know, your two worlds of music.
And fashion. Because I feel like people are so confused. Like, are you a model? Do you make music? Like, I'm a fashion bitch. And this is what I fucking do. Like, no questions asked. Like, that's it.
I'm going to start saying that
That's
too.
It.
Like, somebody asked me too many questions.
I'm a fashion bitch.
Yeah, I'm a fashion bitch. Relax. Like,
who's your favorite designer?
So hard. Okay, Chanel.
And for what reason?
Because Chanel is the fucking baddest bitch in the game. Like, she came out in the 1920s and was like, I'm cutting my hair, I'm wearing short-ass miniskirts, I'm twerking my ass on tables, I don't give a fuck. And now she's one of the top, like, her brand is one of the top designer brands in the world. And she was a woman who people ridiculed as a slut, they ridiculed her as, like, a bad woman, like, had a horrible reputation. And she took that reputation and made a brand for herself that has become one of the most classy brands in all of history. And I think that that's a badass story.
I like how all your answers have bitch in it. Like,
I love that word.
Bitch somewhere in the story.
You feel me?
Word.
I love that word.
Yeah.
I think it's a very empowering word. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when you're with your girlfriend, you're like, bitch, and she's like, bitch, and you just know what it is.
The dude comes out like, bitch.
And then you'll be like,
and the joke is over after that.
I'm not the type of girl that, like, I think it all depends on how a guy says it. Like, if he says, like, oh, bitch, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know when it's like a negative thing. But if you're with a guy and he's like, yo, that's why you my bitch, like, you know what I mean? Like, in a good way, then you're just like, I fuck
and
with you.
And I feel like we're from Jersey, so that word, like, we just use like bitch. Like, we're just like,
that's not good. Like, if someone's like, I feel like, you know, a nigga suck my, you know what I mean? Like, it would not be good.
But I feel like it's not anything. It's just a word that, you know, is said.
Yeah, it's a word.
It's like nigga.
Yeah.
Every word has meaning behind it. Like, every word can be rude. Like, if you say shut up to somebody, like, strong enough, like, it almost feels like a curse word, you know? So it's all about how you say something to someone. Or if someone's like, relax, you know what I mean? Or if someone's like, relax, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's two different. The relax is going to make you want to fight somebody. But the relax is like, okay, I could relax. You know what I mean? So it's all about how you say something to somebody because, you know? And growing up in New York, like, everything is about how you say something. You
gotta be real mindful.
How you look at somebody, how you say something, like, you gotta be very clear.
Right. I saw on your page you posted the tragedy that happened with Kobe Bryant.
God bless.
How did that, you know, affect you being so spiritual and mindful? You know, like that?
I think that Kobe is one of the greatest to ever do it, and I think the legacy he left behind for everybody, but most importantly for Black men, is like such a beautiful legacy. To come from to make something out of nothing and to turn it into such a beautiful legacy with such a beautiful family, to be such a great father. I think that he was such an amazing man in his life, and to die so young when he had so much left to give. I know he did, you know? It's just hard for me as like, you know, to me it's like, You know, Kobe's part of all of our lives. Like, everyone grew up on Kobe. He was one of the best in the game. Like, always was like, I can't even. It makes me emotional. But like, the reality is that life is short, and I think we all have to realize that we have to make sure that while we're here on this earth, we leave behind a legacy. We make the most of it. We leave something beautiful for the world.
And he definitely did that with his family, basketball,
everything,
filmmaking,
just his personality, everything. Every person that I ever heard a story from about him told me like he's like one of the nicest people I've ever talked to. One of the, you know what I mean? Like just such a sweet soul, and it's just like. To hear somebody like that pass, it's just like, damn, why you couldn't have took someone else? No, let me stop.
It was a tough thing because like a lot of the dudes I know, like black men I know, tell me like they were crying, right? And I remember driving in the car. I told my brother, I don't know if he was crying or not, but I looked over and he was like sniffling and like just looking away.
But that type of honesty is the type of honesty we need. It's okay to cry.
Yeah.
If you lose somebody, it's okay to mourn that person. You know. Mm-hmm. Because it's hard to lose people. Like, we are here on this, we're here in the physical, but, to have faith that there's something after that, I think that's what keeps us a lot of us driving. Not everybody, but a lot of us, like, continuing on. And it's hard to lose somebody. It's hard, And I think it's okay to cry. And I think especially as men, it is okay to cry. Mm. And it's even okay to cry on each other's shoulders. Like,
I don't know about that. Y'all taking it too far there. All right?
Y'all gotta get into your emotions.
I'll cry in my room by myself alone.
It's the best time to cry when you by yourself on the road.
Nah, fuck all that toxic masculinity.
I can't let anyone see me cry.
Nah,
that's what Kobe told me.
Stop that. Y'all need to stop that. It's okay to cry, and y'all better teach your sons that it's okay to cry.
Nah,
definitely.
We need that toxic
cry actually, because I remember I was in 3rd grade, my first fight. I won. But I came home, I thought I was gonna get some sympathy by crying to my mom. She's like, "So you cried though?" That's the only reason I got in trouble, because I came home and I cried, and I was trying to get some sympathy.
See, that's not what I'm teaching my son. If my son comes home crying to me, I'm gonna be like, "This is great. I'm glad you're getting in touch with your emotions. Let's talk about it." And then once you're done crying, we gonna beat that nigga's ass together.
Wow.
I'm gonna be a bad parent. Like, if someone does anything crazy to my kid, I'm tripping them. I don't care.
Tripping little kids.
Oh, did I trip you? That's what you get. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna
like a bully.
I'm not gonna be a good parent. That's why I'm like debating this shit. I'm like, I'm not gonna be a good parent.
Yeah.
I can't play it. Like, I don't know. The family I come from, like, my family is half my family is Puerto Rican, so they're very much about like that tribal shit, like if I tell any of my uncles, like if I told one of my uncles today like some guy did anything to me, if he even looked at me weird, they'd be like, where he at? You know his address? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's just what I grew up on. It's like I grew up on like protecting yours, and so it'd be hard for me, especially if I have like a son or if I have a son or a daughter. I mean, I'm gonna have a son or a daughter. You know what I mean? But
I mean, you never know.
You don't know.
A lot of new things coming
out. Son, daughter, or anything in between. You know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna be easy for me to just let somebody bully my kid. Like, I'm
gonna teach my kids to be the bully.
Were you like a mean girl? I'm kind of getting that vibe a little bit.
I never thought I was a mean girl, but I talked to some of my friends recently, and they were like, "You were so mean when you were younger." And I was like, "How was I mean? I was like one of the nicest people." And they started telling me stories, and I was like, "Oh shit."
That sounds like a mean girl. That's something.
What type of stories?
I did a lot of bad shit. I got in trouble when I was in 3rd grade because I wrote this letter to this girl, and it had like a bunch of curse words in it. It was like, "Fuck you, bitch."
I told you, it's a bitch in every story.
It was really bad. It was so bad. And I got in so much trouble. They didn't tell my parents. I was really happy. But that girl deserved it. She was being a bitch. She was bullying my kids. The thing is, like, my friends thought I was mean because I would stand up for myself. That's what it was. Like, because I didn't like seeing people get bullied. So if I seen anybody get bullied, like, I was going to stand up for them and be like,
"You're going to bully the bully."
Yeah, exactly. But then it's like you always get I also got in trouble for tripping a guy while we were playing basketball because I didn't like to lose. So I tripped this kid and he like skinned both his knees and like was fucked up.
Terrible.
That's your go-to move, right?
Mad. Yeah. I was like, you mad because you lost? Like, don't be crying to the nurse because you lost. Like, I didn't even trip you. Like, but the teacher seen me trip them, so I got in trouble. But yeah, I was in trouble. I've always been a troublemaker. Like, I was just, I'd never got in trouble because I was really good at like fabricating stories. So my parents never knew I was a bad kid until I graduated. It was so bad that at graduation, like, because I didn't think I was going to get to walk. So when my parents got there, like, I was like so shook because I hadn't been in school for 9 months.
What? That's a whole school year.
I know. And I had just done a bunch of essays and like begged all my teachers. And I made up mad stories. I was like, my parents don't give a fuck about me. That's why they never come to parent-teacher conferences. But I never told them when they were. So I was like, my parents don't care about me. Like, you should know like that, I'm only in school because I want to be here. So if you want me to pass, then you better like care about, like, I was really bad.
The teachers that hated you was right a little bit.
Yeah, they were definitely right. They should definitely have hated me. But it's just like, but the thing is, I was skipping school to make music. It wasn't like I was skipping school to do like reckless shit. I was skipping school because I was in the studio. But I didn't want my parents to know because they wanted me to finish school. My mom, like, I lied to my mom so good that like when I graduated, she was like, honey, you have such good grades. We should get you into Yale. And I was like, bitch, no.
Yeah.
I was like, you're
that logic went too far.
I was like, you're stretching it, mom. Like, I was like, I have A's, but I'm not that good of a student. Like, I'm not going to get into Yale. Like, I was like, fuck. Like, what am I going to do? I was so bad. Like, okay, so I took, how you have to put your parents' number for like whatever so that your school could call them? I put my own number, but I was smart. So I changed my voicemail so that like no one would know that it was my number. So the school used to call me all fucking day. Like, and I would like never pick up, and then I was just fucking crazy. School. And I went to an art school, so all my friends had Photoshop. They should have never did that. Like, why they just gave me the keys? Like, you know what I mean?
Wait, what do you mean by that? Photoshop for what?
Photoshop all your report cards. Photoshop anything you want. Like, I photoshopped everything. I was like, Mom, I get all A's. Just sign this shit. Like, forged signature. Send him, like, you know what I mean? It was just bad. Like, I was a mess.
It's terrible.
But you gotta do what you gotta
like
do.
Me. I'm related right now.
I was on my own grind. You know what I mean? It's not like I wasn't, like, I was doing really well. I was just like, it's hard when you're so smart that you outsmart all your teachers and like everybody around you to the point where you can just do whatever you want. You know what I mean? And like, I got it bad because my uncle, he graduated high school when he was 16. So like, I just come from like a very smart family. So it's like, I just didn't have any, like, I just never had any like barriers. Like, these are rules and you should follow them. Like, I just never liked rules. I was like, fuck all this shit. I'm doing whatever I want. If I get outsmart my way out of this one, then like, it's meant to happen. You know what I mean? Like, I was
the funny part about all of that is you spent a little more time that you put into finesse it.
Actually doing the work.
But then where would I be though? Like, my cousin, she went to nursing school, everything, did everything exactly how my family wanted her to, because my family wanted me to be a nurse because they thought that was like my dad's side, my Puerto Rican side. My mom's side, like, they didn't care. And my parents don't care either. They wanted me to do music. But my Puerto Rican side, they wanted me to be a nurse or a teacher. My cousin went to school for nursing. She went to college for nursing, got her nursing certificate, everything. Didn't get hired until 4 years after she got out of school. Damn. Just got her first job this year. Damn. You know what I mean? Still paying off student loans. So I think it's like, there's really no right way. You know, you just got to create your future and make sure that you are focused on getting to a goal. You know, like if I was just doing all that shit to just fuck around and like get high after school or some dumb shit, like, then it wouldn't have been worth it. But I was really focused on getting to the bag. Like, I would cut school to go hang out with my friends. They're in this band called Phony People. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. They're in Brooklyn. Familiar, so I would go and I would jam with them in their basement, literally from like 10 a.m. to like, the nighttime. Like, and I would go and do certain shit like that. I would go hang out with my friends who did music. I would go hang out with my friends who did fashion because I was really motivated to like make something out of myself. I really wanted to do something, and I really was just having fun while I was doing it. So I think it's all about like what your passion is. I don't think I could have gone to school for what I'm doing right now. I don't think I could have, you know? I think if I went to a music school, like, I would still be trying to get the relationships and all the things that I had genuinely created with the kids in my generation, you know? So it is what it is, you know?
So I feel like you're taking all that, you know, rebellious energy and putting it, you know, to a good place.